Kia ora, ko Taranaki te maunga, my mountain is Taranaki. Ko Waitara te awa, my river is Waitara. Ko Owai te marae, my marae is Owai. Ko Tiatiawa te iwi, my iwi is Tiatiawa. Ko Ashley Tokawingawa, my name is Ashley. My late grandfather's name is Patrick Norton Riley. We're very lucky as children because we got to be brought up right next door to my nana and granddad. So it was, we were really lucky because that wealth of knowledge was right next door to us. Unfortunately, we lost him in September. He was our tōtara, he was the glue of our family. So my granddad, he loved sharing stories about Taranaki. That was his home. He was from Opunaki, so it was very close to Parihaka. My dad's side, Maniapoto, and they had a close link with Parihaka directly in historic times when King Tawhio had told 12 people, they called them the disciples, Te Kaumarua. They went down to Parihaka and King Tawhio had said to them, go and follow the shepherds, which was Te whiti and Tohu. Was born into that era where they weren't allowed to talk about Maori history. They weren't allowed to kōrero Maori, speak Maori. So he knew it was his job for his mokopuna, his grandchildren, to share that knowledge and make it okay to speak about these events. So Granddad told us all the story about Parihaka. He was sitting in his room at the hospital, at his rest home, and I remember walking into the room and he was just sitting on his chair, his rocking chair in the corner, and he had framed the Taranaki maunga. So this is a story of Parihaka as told by my granddad. So out of this horror and war going around Aotearoa, there was a little safe haven below Taranaki, which was Parihaka. It was a place where there were no weapons allowed. It was a place of pacifism, so it was peaceful resistance against the government and what they were doing at that time. Te whiti and Tohu, our main leaders, they called them the shepherds, they would guide our people spiritually and politically. What they had done was they had created a place where everyone from all over New Zealand, right from the Chathams up to Ngāpuhi, could come. They all did not like what the government were doing. When the surveyors would go and carve up the land on the Waimate plains, they would put pegs, the surveyors would come and put pegs, and Te whiti and Tohu would send out their men to go and take the pegs out, put fences up, block the roads, so it was peaceful protests like that. Those men were arrested, they were taken to prisons without trial. It was really harsh conditions that they lived in. Apparently they actually stood next to each other, shoulder to shoulder, so they couldn't sit. They were standing, crammed up in a little room. And on the 5th of November 1881, about 1,600 Crown troops marched onto Parihaka. They thought that they were going to be met with a battle, but they weren't. It was actually the media that had hyped that up. There's newspaper articles that were saying that the Te whiti and Tohu were the rebels and they were gaining lots of troops to take on the Crown, but they weren't. Crown troops were met with children skipping, singing waita. The women had baked bread, so they were offered kai, food. The men sat surrounded around Te Whiti and Tohu on the lawn, and Te Whiti and Tohu had said to their men, do not do violence, do not even lift a stick to hit them. So they just sat quietly, cloaked in their blankets. The Crown troops were really intimidating. They would ride right up into the children's and the men's faces, just to try and get a reaction, but they still stood still. The kids still played with their spin tops, did skipping and sang the waiata. The Crown troops then called for Te Whiti and Tohu. They had to give them over, and again they did it with no resistance. They left, got taken away. Hundreds of men got taken to prison, to Dunedin, Wellington. Later that day they had ransacked the village. They had destroyed their crops, their houses. It took 2 weeks to destroy all of their whare, their houses, and then later 2 months to destroy all of their crops. Other Maori that were in that safe haven, they got told to go back to where they were from. If the Crown troops knew that they weren't from Parihaka, they were told they had to leave. So again, they were displaced. Yeah, when he shared the story of Parihaka, I realised that he was actually telling me, look, this is your history, and through anything that comes to you, problems, issues, do not be bitter about it. We must not be bitter. If we all work together, and we can do it with peace, we don't have to fight that the world's going to be a better place. So the change has to be within us first. So don't be bitter. Love one another, and we are stronger together than we are individually.